to the Glam Metal Interview Series, presented by RockMusicStar.com, with host Thomas S. Orwat Jr.
Hey everyone, it's Thomas from glam-metal.com with episode number 15 of the Glam Metal Interview Series. It is January 29th, 2021, and I have Stephen Shaw as my special guest. Stephen was one of the guitarists in Rockcandy, which was a glam metal band that dominated the Western New York music scene during the mid to late 80s. In addition to Stephen, Rockcandy consisted of Johnny Angel, formerly of Talas, on guitar, Joey Ains vocals, Jeff Powell bass, and David Joel on drums. After Rockcandy, Stephen established himself as a very successful tour manager, managing artists such as Buck Cherry, Kid Rock, Drown and Pool, and Stone Sour. So here he is, Stephen Shaw. Hey glam metalheads, we have a great interview for you today. We found Stephen Shaw, who many of you know as a guitar player that played in the glam metal band Rockcandy and also Bittersweet in the mid 80s. And we're going to talk today about his time in those two bands. And then we're going to talk about how he transitioned into a very successful road manager. Stephen, how are you today?
I'm great. How are you?
Oh, doing great. Hey, thanks a lot for taking the time out. A lot of people, I've been looking at YouTube and checking out some of your old songs from Rockcandy and Bittersweet. Mm-hmm. And there seems to be a lot of people like really interested in, listening to those songs and reminiscing about those great days. So what I want to do is I kind of want to go in chronological order. Sure. We'll start like in the very beginning. So this is going to be your life, Stephen Shaw. You ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, so we're going to start off first by asking, so how did you get involved in music? What led you to pick up the guitar?
It was a combination of a lot of things. My whole family's musical, and there was always music playing somewhere in the house. I think for me, though, it was probably early Zeppelin, early Aerosmith, and we're talking like Aerosmith's first album, or Queen.
Right.
When I first started hearing those, so I'm like, how are they doing this? This sounds amazing. How are they making these sounds? I've got to learn. I've got to do this. And my parents were kind enough to give me. I can't even remember what year it was. It was in the 70s sometimes. A Norma, at the time it wasn't crappy, but it was a Norma electric guitar and a little practice amp. And that's where it all started.
Yeah. Wow. And so was this something that came real easy for you, or did you really have? No, you really had to put in some time to make it happen, huh?
No, actually, no, none of it still is. I still do it as a hobby. But that's the fun of it. To me, it was the repetition that we're doing it. The one thing I could do, I would do, is sit down and just do it over and over and over until it became muscle memory. So was it easy? No, never.
Huh. Okay. So let's fast forward to the first band that I knew that you were involved in, and that's this band right here. Rockcandy, the original demo tape right here.
Yep, that certainly is. Yep.
Yeah. Now this was a band that featured you. Mm-hmm. It featured Jeff Powell on bass, mm-hmm. Joey Ains on vocals, mm-hmm. And Johnny Angel, who people from Buffalo know him. He was in a group called Talas.
Correct.
Prior to that, and this was his band that he kind of formed, and you guys got together like what, 1986-ish was it?
No, I think that was 85.
Oh, 85. Okay.
I think that was actually the very beginning of 85 or the end of 84. That came about in a weird way. To make a long story short, I replaced the guitar player in Sinful, which was basically Rockcandy. And the guitar player in Sinful was Nuno Betancourt.
Oh, no kidding.
And of course, Nuno went on to Extreme, and then I jumped into his position. And then we had a band called LA Twist. We changed the name to that. And we were just trying to think, what could we do different? And and one of the guitar players ended up leaving, and got a hold of Mike Varney, and John Angel was looking for a band, and we were looking for a guitar player, and there it was.
Yeah. So Mike Varney was involved in this, huh?
He was, yes. He used to do a lot of Metal Blade stuff back in the day, a lot of guitar-oriented music. I mean, I wasn't one of those types of players, but, we still had, a small rapport there. So
yeah, definitely. You're a very melodic player. I mean, your leads, you could sing them back. I mean,
Brian, that's the Brian May influence.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Or Neil Schon.
Yeah. So anyway, so you and Rockcandy, you're kicking ass. You're making a name for yourself. In Buffalo, I remember going to your very first gig that you played in Buffalo with Rockcandy, and there was a buzz. I mean, you guys were the band in Buffalo at the time.
I didn't even realize it. That we were. I didn't even think. Not especially all of us from New England. We have a different mindset.
Right.
It was more like, God, I hope we don't suck.
Yeah. No, you guys definitely didn't suck. Now, correct me if I'm mistaken here, but you guys all moved to Buffalo and lived in the Buffalo area while you were in Rockcandy for the
That's
most
correct.
part, right? Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely correct. 100% correct.
Okay, so you're playing gigs, you're like dominating Buffalo, you're getting some attention, you're getting some airplay on the local radio station. Again, this demo tape is released. Was this demo tape? I'm assuming that you guys probably like shopped it around. I mean, at the time that music was really popular, the glam metal type music.
Not that demo tape, because we felt that it was just a stepping stone to getting better.
Mm-hmm.
Because after all, that was just a demo tape, and even though we were privileged to work with Bob St. John, I don't know if you know who he is, but he did all of our demos. Back at the time too, he's our age, so I mean, he's done like Duran Duran now, all the Extreme albums.
Yeah, wow.
On and on. I mean, he's done a lot of Latin artists and things like that, but he was also cutting his teeth. And our whole thing was, well, this is a good start, but we need to have a catalog of songs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and there's one thing you guys were able to do is write great, catchy songs. I mean, every song on that demo is great. And so did you shop the band? I mean, was there any interest from major labels at the time?
No.
Really?
No. It's God. I'm trying to remember all the stuff what happened when we did shop, and then oddly enough, we got more interest in the band after the departure of John,
Really?
which I don't think had anything to do with that. I just think that because we shifted musically and a little bit after he left. No, no, we really didn't have anybody that. I mean, in hindsight, I'll tell you, I think a lot of people were like, well, yeah, this is good, but we already have this.
Really? Okay. Yeah.
We already have this sort of thing.
That kind of like predated even Poison a bit. I mean, Bon Jovi was like breaking at the time, so you guys like predated Poison. I mean, I felt that in retrospect, you guys could have been that next Poison rat.
Yeah, it was similar in a way. No, didn't really know who Poison was until I saw their first album. We had already recorded, well over 2 albums worth of stuff before I even heard that. So
yeah.
But I mean, to us, as far as songwriting goes, and it was more, especially with Joey, was very influenced by Stars and Sweet and
Right On, yeah,
and stuff like that. So for vocal melodies and everything, and he was the master of coming up with a good basic rock vocal melody, memorable things. And of course, his I mean, he used to listen to Bay City Rollers.
Right.
And stuff like that. So and you go, oh well, that's silly. And it was. I mean, those bands were big, and they wrote memorable songs, and so those were his influences. So nobody that was a contemporary during that time was an influence on us. I mean, it was kind of like like there was no really anything you could watch on TV back then to see that as an influence, or go on computer, because there wasn't any.
Right.
The only thing you had were like magazines like Metal Edge or Rolling Stone or the Circus Cream Hit Parader. That's it. And
Right.
you get that information in a picture once a month with a little story.
Right.
So back then you were influenced by what you grew up with, and also maybe you were influenced by what was going on around you, musically.
Yeah.
Too. So
well, you guys rule the Buffalo scene. I mean, you're definitely very influential in Buffalo. And then this is the record that came out, the debut record.
Yeah.
Which
Yep.
was amazing. And you did sign mine right there. You want to know what you wrote? You wrote, Tom, rock on, buddy. And I have. So thank you for that advice. I've been rocking on for all these years. So
what a cerebral quote.
it really is. I mean, some of these quotes are great. Johnny wrote, hey, Tom, thanks, buddy. Thanks for everything. So yeah,
it sounds so Canadian. Thanks, buddy.
Yeah, I mean, we're close to the border, so I'm sure that
Right.
he was like influenced by that. But this right here was an amazing record right here, and a lot of people, if you go onto YouTube, some of these songs have over like 140,000 views, listening.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. And the honest opinion about that album is, like, we had demo-itis at that point. When we recorded that album, we all knew our parts and everything, and it just felt so lifeless and dead recording that album, because it was, even when that album came out, we had already flogged that horse for a long time. Those songs were rehearsed and previously recorded and rehearsed over and over and played live. So when you finally go back into the studio, it was kind of like, I personally didn't feel like it really captured the band at all.
Really? Wow, that's interesting.
For me personally, I was disappointed in it.
Wow. I mean, that is a good point, because you guys, I mean, probably played out for what, at least a year and a half, 2 years before that came out. You guys were playing those songs, like,
Correct.
I mean, when I bought the record, I mean, I knew every song, like I knew the words to every song before I listened to the record. So wow, that's very interesting. How was that experience? Well, other than the fact that you were kind of feel like you were just going through the motions, how was the whole like experience of recording that record? Was it an exciting time for the band, at least?
Yeah, in a way. I mean, everything back then was exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was fun. It was kind of like, at that point for us, because we had recorded a lot, so it was kind of like, okay, so today we're going to work on this and this and this song, the bed tracks. I mean, David Joel went in and nailed the drum tracks in less than a day for the entire album.
Wow.
I never saw him after the first day. He just went fishing.
That's amazing.
So we did it at a couple different studios in Buffalo. I don't have any bad memories about it, but I don't have any great memories about it. I just remember I thought it was going to be different.
Wow.
I thought it was going to have a little more joie de vivre to it.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. I mean, it came out, it was fun doing it, and because we put it out, and it was fun doing all that stuff, and it was fun with the learning process and the progression and all that. And we were young. I think I was the youngest one in the band.
Yeah. You guys were like what, in your like early 20s, right?
Yes. Yeah. I think the oldest person in the band was David Joel, and I think he was 25. I think I was 22 years old. Yeah.
Yeah, because David Joel was in bands prior to that. I think he was in the group Actor. So he was kind of he was kind of known as like the veteran, like musician, and you guys were all like younger kids. And I thought it was a good mix having him in the band. I mean, he was probably the best drummer in Buffalo at the time.
Absolutely consistent drummer. amazing meter, really fantastic musician.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. The interesting has this well, let me go back to this. This record here, I remember when I purchased this, it was you guys were playing a show called The Rally in the Alley in Buffalo.
Oh yeah.
And that show was like, it was like almost Beatlemania. I remember like after the show, you guys running from the stage into this building because everybody was chasing you guys with records, wanting them to get signed. It was like, it was outrageous. And I remember watching this going, oh my God, I'm like watching the next Beatles. I mean, it was crazy. I mean, do you remember that?
Yep.
Like running?
I sure do.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. No, I remember it well. No, I don't know. I had a lot of fun in Buffalo. I think it not just the music, but just growing as a person and having friends there and finding my way just like everybody else.
Yeah.
Because my friends weren't musicians up there. They were, mailmen and people who worked at the Buffalo newspaper. And usually my friends are people that have nothing to do with what I do. Like I don't, I have, musician friends, now that are kind of the same way I am, when we talk, we don't talk about anything music, for instance, guitar player Christian Martucci for Stone Sour. We'll talk about his new home in Oregon and the fires that were going on around there and how his kids are doing in school and and then we'll talk about studio gear, because he's a studio nut like me that's into that, but we don't sit and talk about bands or music or any of that stuff.
Oh yeah, that's all I talk about, like nonstop. That's my life. So Rockcandy, unfortunately, Johnny left, and you guys continue with Rockcandy, and then what happened at the end? Why did the band break up?
I think it just ran its course. At that point, we had a couple different guitar players come in. We had Bobby Andalora was great.
Right.
Love Bobby. Bobby, of course, well known around Buffalo. Fantastic singer too. Fantastic guitar player. Well-rounded musician. Sweetheart of a guy. Total joy to play with. I just think after a while for Bobby, it just wasn't his bag, which was a shame because I really enjoyed music again with that band, working with Bobby. He was a really good mentor, and he was older than me and much more experienced.
Yeah, and he was another, like you said, another experienced Buffalo musician who was in the band prior to joining Rockcandy. That was pretty popular.
Many bands, yeah. I mean, he's stellar, and I think he lives in Nashville now.
Doesn't everyone? Yeah, that seems to be the place everyone has moved to. Yeah.
Great, just really great. And then we get another really awesome guitar player in Stan Pavlidis. He was in a band called Cheater.
Right, Cheater, right. Long Distance Love Affair was their big song.
That sounds familiar.
Yeah. I can't believe I remember it.
But yeah, another fantastic musician, great guitar player. Really talented, good singer. Did a great job. It wasn't for lack of talent or anything. It just kind of ran its course. It became it wasn't going to progress any further than what it did.
Yeah.
If we wanted to hang around and just for me, I just felt like, I could keep doing this and gigging and playing these shows, but this isn't developing further, and it's not getting better, and we're not trying to make it better.
Yeah.
At this point.
Oh, very sad. I mean, it was such a great band with such potential, and it was heartbreaking when Rockcandy broke up and you guys left town, and we never got that Rockcandy reunion that we're all hoping for. But we're still hoping. I mean, is there any chance that could ever happen?
It was actually talked about one time. I remember I was somewhere in Texas, and I got a phone call from John Angel, and he's like, would you be interested in doing it? And I said, yeah, on my off time, which I don't know what it is right now. I was in the middle of a long tour, and I said I can't commit to anything.
Oh, so you're the one. You're the one who made it not happen.
Yeah. I just couldn't commit to. I mean, my life is different now. I have a house and a wife and my family and responsibility, and although it sounds great, it's not a priority to me.
Right. Understandable.
Family first. Everything else fits in behind it.
Yeah.
Which is one of the reasons why I do this job, support my family and, so on.
Mm-hmm.
So, it was nice and it was cool to hear from him, but, it just didn't, timing wise, it didn't work out. So would there be, I really couldn't tell you. The only guys I really talk to anymore, once in a while, Jeff Powell and I will text each other, but he's out and I think he lives outside of Los Angeles with his wife, and Tom Regine, the bass player who took his place from Rhode Island. I text him once in a while, or we'll comment on something on Facebook. But I mean, I haven't seen David Joel or talked to him probably in 28 years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it'd probably not much of a chance of you guys getting together and doing a gig.
Well, we all live so far apart. Like,
Yeah.
and with that band, it's like we went in and we gave it 1,000%. And when it didn't work out, I mean, to me, I didn't look at it as a heartbreaking thing. I look at it as, well, I gave it a shot. I had fun. I really enjoyed it. But I'm not going to make a living from this.
Right. So
I joined my brother's band for a little bit, and that was like beating a dead horse too. It was fun and everything.
That one right here, Bittersweet.
Yeah.
That was the next question. Yes, Bittersweet. Yeah.
Yeah, and it became not enjoyable anymore.
Oh. What were some of? Did you guys ever happen to open for any major artists? I mean, I don't remember Rockcandy doing that. I remember Rockcandy playing a lot of headlining shows, but
my favorite opening slot we ever had, we played out at Darien Lake. We opened up for the Ramones, which is a terrible combination.
Right, I do remember that. That's insane. Yeah, that's right.
Woo! Dodge the bottles and the sneakers being thrown at you on stage.
Wow, Rockcandy and the Ramones. How could I forget that? Yeah. Wow, and that was not a great experience. How the
no, it was for me, because I totally get the whole thing. I just felt to me it was amusing because I knew that we were completely not what they were about. And yeah.
What do you guys say in the dressing room after a gig like that? What do you say to one another?
Just laughed.
Yeah. Wow, what the fuck was up with this? Wow. Rockcandy and the Ramones.
I don't look at that as opening. I look at it as we survived.
Yeah. Wow.
We didn't. Nobody got hurt.
So were there any other gigs like that? Any other major bands?
We opened up for Joan Jett at the Inferno. When the Inferno was around.
Yeah, I remember that. I do remember that. Yep, I remember that gig. That was That was right when she did the movie The Light of Day, I believe. So she was at an all-time, popularity wise at that time. I mean, she had a little bit of a career resurgence going on.
Yeah, that was fine. We did that. Who else did we play with? We played a show in Detroit with Romantics.
Oh yeah, the Romantics were huge at the time also. Yeah. Wow. And
I'm sure there were others. I just don't remember.
Yeah. Well, I mean, your draw was so good with Rockcandy that you really didn't. I mean, you were a headliner, pretty much a headliner of larger clubs in Buffalo. Yeah,
we were making decent money, enough to at least pay for our apartment and our crew, and because we had a truck and a PA and a light show and all that stuff, and but we also had merchandise. I mean, we were marketing ourselves back then too when other people weren't. I mean, we were selling stuff, and we had the Rockcandy Brigade fan club and all that. Try to hook the younger crowd. So, I think that's it. I think that's
Oh.
the only people that I can remember we played with.
Okay. So let's pick it up. So you played with your brother's band, Bittersweet, which we talked about briefly.
Yep.
So how long did you play in that band?
Oh, I think it was a year.
1 year, yeah.
We did it for a year and went at it hard. And, the music was changing, and it just didn't. It just seemed like a repeat of what I was doing before, and I didn't think that I was progressing. I didn't, and I became just really disenchanted with it. I wanted to move on. Not that I didn't like, I love playing music and I love playing guitar, but I didn't feel like it was anything groundbreaking or anything that was going to,
Hmm.
be worthy of, of anything. It's always pretty pragmatic about things after a while with music. I was just like, well, yeah, it was good. It was fun, but where is it? Where is this going?
Yeah.
You
Okay.
know?
So what happened after that? I kind of like we kind of lost track from like 1990 to like the 2000s. So what's Stephen Shaw doing in that decade, in the 90s?
I got back into recording and audio engineering and worked for an audio company and doing monitors in front of house and production. And then I started getting requested by bands that were coming through town if I could come out and mix them or do monitors for them. During that interim, I turned around and I was mixing, Quiet Riot and doing Pat Travers band and it's like a long list of people I was doing back. I did work. I did monitors for Doc and Warrant.
Wow. Was it difficult to like establish yourself as one of the top like monitor guys and sound
No,
guys
I
at the
didn't
time?
even. I don't look at stuff like that. I just kind of go in and do the best I can,
Yeah.
and so be it. A lot of people have done a lot better because some people. My whole approach is if you go in, give it 100% and show up and do a good job, and you're easy to hang with. And you get paid. There's the win right there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because there's a lot of really talented people out there doing the
Right.
same thing you're doing, and they're doing it for the same reasons. One, they like it. Two, they want to support their family.
Hmm. Yeah.
So it's not a competitive thing like music. It's more like interchangeable parts. Like for instance, I had a conference call today with 5B Artist Management because I work for Corey Taylor too in Stone Sour, and
Yeah. Right.
Corey's getting ready to do some solo shows in a few months and under COVID restrictions.
Wow.
And
Cool.
and they're like, well, why don't you call up some of the crew guys that you like and work with? And I go to my go-tos like Brian Moran, who is my monitor engineer that I take out, and after Stone Sour, he went and did Slash, and I went off and did Amon and Marth, and then Cage the Elephant. We all do different things, but when we're free, it's like, hey, are you available? So you
Yeah.
put together your cohesive team and guys that you that are pros and you can count on because it's a business, and it's regimented and it's run with a schedule, and and that's the fun thing about this job is it's in a way it's like music. You have to produce the results every
Yeah.
night, every show. You're only as
Yeah.
good as the last show.
Yeah. For our viewers out there, so you became a road manager, and you worked with
Yeah.
in 2003 you actually were a manager on the Ozfest with a band called Memento.
Yeah, I've done a few Ozfest. I actually was on Ozfest with Drowning Pool as their tour
Oh
manager
wow, I didn't know
when
that.
David died. David Williams died.
Right.
Uh,
Wow.
so, yeah, I've done a few Oz. I'm a veteran of the Ozfest thing, world thing deal, and it's funny how it all becomes full circle because my last U.S. tour with Stone Sour was with Ozzy.
Wow.
So
Wow, that's
to see
crazy.
how
Yeah.
people
It all comes back to Ozzy.
how people change and how they're different, and or even become better. I've watched Zach Wilde become the best I've ever seen him, which was over the last few years.
Yeah, yeah.
It was when he was younger. So
So I want to ask, and I've always wondered this, and I think I'm finally going to get my answer after all these years. What is a day in the life of a tour manager? I mean, what is it like from the moment you wake up, and what are you doing?
oh god.
What are your responsibilities?
Well, first off, you want to make sure that everybody's going to make lobby call. If you're in the hotel that night, or if you're on the bus, it's basically getting day sheets out, doing the accounting, making sure everybody on the crew has everything they need, scheduling interviews, podcasts, making sure everything in the dressing room is sorted, making sure your drivers are in the hotel, the transportation there and back, making sure that they get in fine. Uh, setting up your accounting sheets for the settlement for the end of the night, for the show, because all deals are structured differently. Like it could be a guarantee plus 15% of gross box office receipts, or versus deal versus 80% of GBOR. Making sure that it's I call it advanced daycare.
Mm.
Yeah, but
Well,
these are all I kind of fell into the position just from uh, by default on some tours where people had to leave, and that's how I kind of grew into that part of it too. Was, hey, can you fill in for a week? And then a week would turn into a month, and then hey,
yeah.
so so I kind of became well rounded. It's like I try my hand at everything. I did the Amon Amarth tour over in Europe with full production. That was fun because that was using old school scenery style, multiple backdrops that were on a huge track rail system, and tons of pyro from FFP in Berlin, and
Wow.
together, and of course over there you've got to know fire marshal rules, and weights and measures on the ceiling, and how big is the load in, and what trucks are coming in first, and the
Wow.
crew that when to cut them, and I could go on and on and on.
Well, I say you have to really be a jack of all trades to be able to be successful in that. I mean, it's a lot that you're responsible for.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah, it sounds like it'd be fun, but it sounds like it could be very stressful and challenging.
Yeah, well, what isn't?
Right, that's true. But yeah, so you worked with like I said, Memento, a drowning pool. I didn't know you worked with with them. I mean, that's pretty
Yeah,
fascinating. You were there when you were actually on tour when Dave passed away.
that's correct. We were in
Oh wow,
Manassas, Virginia, when that happened. Uh,
oh, unbelievable.
David had cardiomyopathy,
Hmm.
heart issue. He was taking medication for his heart. And make a long story short, we were checked into the hotel, and his girlfriend kept on calling me. She's like, he won't answer the phone. And I went out to the bus, like I usually do, to wake him up and go, hey, your gal's calling. Why don't you call her? And when I went out there, he was unresponsive.
Oh wow,
Yeah.
that's unbelievable.
That was 19 years ago.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, they were a band that had a lot of potential. Bodies Hit the Floor was a huge hit at the time.
Yep.
And wow, that's terrible. That's a very tragic story.
Yeah. It was, because with those guys, they weren't just a band; they were kind of a gang,
Yeah, and
and, and
they never
friends.
really bounced back from that either. I mean, as far as finding
No.
the right person. I mean, David was very unique and not an easy person the shoes to step into. So yeah, that's well, I
Yep.
didn't realize that you were involved in that.
Yeah.
So what happened with the band? I mean, they obviously left the tour, and right, that was if they didn't get a replacement guy right away, did they?
Well, it was kind of surreal.
Yeah.
Had to actually, you know, fly his body home to his parents,
wow.
and then drive in the bus all the way back to Dallas and do the wake and the funeral thing, and so
Wow.
and all the weirdness that and stress and things that go with it for everybody, absolutely everybody. So it was no fun for anybody.
Yeah.
And they just kind of I think they took a year before they found the person they wanted to do, and then they recorded that album. I think it was called Desensitized. After that,
Yeah.
and, with Jason, Scott Jason.
Right.
Yeah.
And I don't think I think he did one or two records with him, right?
He did one album,
One record,
and
and they let it go.
and I kind of stayed in touch with a few of them here and there after that, but I didn't really keep on top of what they were doing. I was more interested that they were fine as people than their music. So so when I talk to any of them, it's more like we're old friends than anything else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very tragic. And then soon after that, you hooked up with Buck Cherry, correct?
No, I did Chevelle.
Oh, you did Chevelle. Okay, Chevelle.
Yeah, I did the This Type of Thinking Will Do Us In tour. You know what? I'd have to look at my my CV and see, remember all the folks I did. But yeah, I did Chevelle. God, Chevelle, and then did Buck Cherry for Buck Cherry tour. I came on when that album came out with Crazy Bitch, and that was the I think that I got the album on my wall. What is it? 15. The album's called 15.
Right. We all know that one, right? Yeah, that was Buck Cherry at their absolute best.
Yep, and that was a lot of fun. Did them a long time, and those guys liked the work a lot.
Yeah, I mean they are road dogs.
Yeah, so I mean they were, it was logistically it was so much fun. I remember I remember one time over in Europe we finished up a Europe tour down at Download in Donington.
Wow.
And played in Kansas City the next day.
You gotta be kidding me. That's crazy. How can that even be done?
Did it.
Wow.
Yeah.
And they probably kicked ass too, knowing that.
Yeah, those guys were, those guys, they just got out there and did it.
Yeah. And how long did you work with Buck Cherry? When did you stop working with them?
Oh God, it's been some years since I worked for them. I think I stopped working for them after they had an album called Rock and Roll. But I worked for other folks in between. I did Kid Rock, Rock and Roll. I was Kid Rock's tour manager for the Rock and Roll Jesus tour.
Oh, I didn't know that. Wow.
Yeah, and
that's huge.
I was the Backstreet Boys tour manager.
Holy Christ.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I mean, I tried researching all. I mean, I remember you working with these bands and us talking, but I didn't know you worked with them. Holy cow! What was that experience like? That must have been absolutely insane.
Yeah, it was good.
It was good. Okay. I mean, that must have been just like your ears must have just been ringing from all the screaming, like after every gig.
What? You know what? Yes. Yeah, that was In a World Like This. That was the album. That was the reunion of all the original members together.
Yeah.
That tour.
And that was very successful. I mean, that was.
Oh yeah. I mean, it killed.
Yeah.
I mean, we did Japan twice.
Wow.
So yeah, that went well. Yeah.
Wow. And then just recently, like you mentioned before, you worked with Stone Sour.
Yeah, Stone Sour, and then I do Corey Taylor's solo stuff. He's such a busy guy. He's a book writer.
Yeah.
He has a cover band. He has a solo album out now. He's always recording with other people. He's constantly like work. He's so busy. He's always doing something.
Yeah. I mean, it always seems like there's a project that he's doing. I mean, you can't deny his passion for music. I mean, he is one passionate guy always doing something and reinventing himself. And,
Yeah.
none of his projects sound the same musically. They're all kind of, unique and different.
Yeah, it's because he has such a large palette of not just music, but just movies and what he reads. He's a habitual reader.
Yeah.
But he's always he's really uh, he really picks up on things. He's pretty clever.
Yeah. Is he easy to work with? I mean,
Absolutely.
Yeah, he is. Yeah.
Absolutely. When they called me up today, they said, "Would you be interested?" Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
And working with him is, I mean, I've been all over the world a few times with him, and I've been. I mean, he's cooked me dinner at his house.
Is he a
I've
good cook?
driven. Yeah, he can cook
Is he?
really well. Yeah.
Wow. Man, the guy does everything great. So lucky.
Yeah, he's he's a total pro. He's a total and complete professional, and well-read, cool hang, good sense of humor.
Yeah. I can imagine that just from hearing your feedback on him, he's probably one of your favorite people that you've worked with.
He's definitely one of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. It's no drama. I mean, he knows what he wants to do with everything. He knows, like, there aren't like, well, should we or maybe. Those words don't exist.
Yeah, I really respect someone like that. I mean, he could definitely be a prima donna and be a dick because of who he is. But I mean, when somebody has so much success like that, and they can still connect with people like that and still be cool and, like you said, be a cool hang. I mean,
Yeah.
I admire that. That's great. Well, good for him. Good for
Yeah.
him.
Yeah, and he's a family guy, and he's got kids and a wife, and he's not he's after a show he reflects on the show, and then he'll eat some food and go read or watch TV or hang with his family or whatever.
Yeah.
That's what he does. That's it.
Yeah. So how has the whole pandemic affected you? I mean, obviously, it must have been a kind of like, it was pretty sudden how it happened. I mean,
Yeah,
tell me what was going on, and when you heard when the lockdown happened.
Well, I was actually over in Europe. I was out on tour with another fun band, Cage the Elephant.
Right.
And about our second week into the tour over there, because we were over there for 5 weeks, I think, on this run. This virus broke out in Milan, so naturally everybody was very concerned because we watched it spread. And then when you watch what we call soccer over here, they're football.
Right.
When you watch a country begin to shut down, and they're shut down all their football stadiums, and that's religion over there. It's soccer.
Mm-hmm.
And then our last show was in Milan. Of course we had to cancel it, but just watched, boom, Italy shut down, and then then you watched France shut down, like. And we were kind of boxed in, and we were in the Netherlands at that point. And we got out of there. We canceled the last show, and we flew out of Schiphol, and that's in Amsterdam, well, outside of Amsterdam, and flew back home. And you get home and just kind of watched everything systematically close down everywhere, all over the world. And I'm like, yeah. 1917.
You're right, yeah.
And obviously we're going to have to do something about this, and because this is not good.
Mm-hmm.
So I went, and of course there's, I can't get a job like I have around here where I live. I live in Greensboro, North Carolina. So I'm like, you know what? I can't keep still. And I went and, Amazon's down the road. I went and got a job delivering packages for Amazon.
Oh, really? Wow. Wow.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm doing fine, financially anyway, but I can't keep still, like
Yeah.
I've got my studio where I record, and looking after my wife and my dogs and walking them, and I'm not one to sit in front of the TV and just space out.
Yeah.
So,
Well, at least it sounds like, we have, like you said, you got a call earlier today, and it seems like
yeah,
there's some hope, down the road, hopefully.
right, because you're starting to see a few of these things happen, and you've seen it happen with a few things in the trade magazines, or you read about it somewhere where they have the drive-in shows, and now they're going to allow, and these first shows start in April. People to have, it's going to be a reduced size capacity where people are still wearing their masks, and they can't get in unless they have their temperature checked, and of course proof of that they don't have COVID. I don't know what the final rules are going to be, but Corey's the kind of guy where he doesn't care. He cares obviously about the pandemic, but he wants to get out there and bring his thing to people, regardless of the fact that it has to be reduced.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's great. I mean, people are starved for it. I cannot wait to see it rock. I don't care who it is. I mean, I want to see I would go like down, outside on the street and watch someone play a guitar. I mean,
right,
I'm desperate right now.
Yeah, exactly. And the people that you want to go see, they're anxious to see you. The musicians, a lot of them have probably, all the practical ones have probably recorded enough music for 2 or 3 more albums right now, and they're like, okay, it's the dichotomy of the music business as a musician. You love recording and you love creating, but after a while you need that feedback, that human thing. And that was my whole point with a few people on one other interview I did. They're like, well, maybe the drive-in shows will be great and this and that, or do you think music will never come back the same? I said, it absolutely will. I said, do you think people are not going to go see the Boston Red Sox play ever again? Do you think, I said, people are tribal. They want to share that experience together. I said, going to a concert is not just going to see your band and getting your face rocked off. You want to get rocked off with everybody else.
Yeah.
That's there, and enjoy the experience with everybody. People like being around people. It's fun. You're sharing the experience together. It's the same thing with sports. Well, why do people go to the movie theater?
Yeah, they want to see the movie get other reactions, see the other people's reactions, and
exactly.
Be part of it,
Yeah, because it's part of how you develop as a human being. You see how somebody reacts to something, or is that funny, or is that not funny, or wow, that person's overreacting or underreacting. It's all part of the human condition. So that's the existential part of all of it. To me, is the sharing of the experience with everybody. Really simple.
Yeah, I feel. Do you feel that once we start getting back to the new normal, that concerts are going to be bands are going to be on tour for 3 years in a row. I think there's going to be so many shows every single day. There's going to almost do you think there might be even a oversaturation of bands out on the road once it's okay for them to tour again?
Wow. Well, it's gonna start off slow, because everything is going to be dictated by what the CDC rules are, and whatever rules are based upon certain areas. And don't forget, right now us as Americans are only limited to the United States because no one's coming in, and we are most certainly not allowed anywhere else right now. We are number one at being bad. With this whole pandemic, and taking responsibility for it, and doing the right thing. So with that being said, onward and upward, we move forward, and we try to do the right thing, and get everybody vaccinated, and reach that point to where it becomes like the regular flu.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's going to be like the floodgates are going to open and everybody's going to be on tour. I think it's going to be a slow trickle effect, because in essence, what I'm going to be doing in April is still going to be uncharted territory. I don't have experience in that, and neither does anybody else.
Yeah, right.
You know,
right. Yeah, it's going to be interesting.
You know, the mechanics of what I'm doing is the same, but the actual landscape of things is it's different now. You know, you got to wear a mask, you got to keep a distance. You know, there are lots of extra rules you got to follow in being, social.
There's another great merchandise opportunity for all the bands out there. If they haven't already, they'll be selling their mask at the shows. So that's
right. Sell their masks. Hand sanitizer.
Yeah, like Slipknot. Yeah, Slipknot has they wear the masks already, so they can have like the COVID safe mask that they're selling, and you can look just like a member of Slipknot. Yeah, there's so many opportunities out there. Yeah, great. Well, I want to thank you for your time, Stephen. I mean, I could probably talk to you for another couple hours, but we gotta wrap this up. I guess like how let's wrap this up. And I guess what I want to ask is, again, if there is somebody out there that's interested in working with a band on the road, kind of following your footsteps. I mean, what kind of advice would you give them? Somebody that's like, younger and they want to go out on and work on the road with a band. What advice would you give them?
Don't do it.
Don't do it. Oh, you shatter so many people's dreams by saying that.
You know what? Advice: just do the best you can. I mean, everybody's story is different. I mean, I could just do the best you can at it, and be as professional as possible, and always aspire to keep learning. But I don't have any great words of wisdom. I am not a shaman. I'll be glad to share my experiences with you, but I'm not a good teacher.
No. Well, I mean, you set a good example for people to follow. I mean, you definitely have had a lot of success, and you've worked with some great artists. I guess also, have you ever thought of maybe like writing a book about all your experiences?
So I've signed a lot of NDAs.
Oh, right. Okay. So
And even if I didn't, it's not my thing. I'm the guy where secrets go to die.
All right, so we're not going to get that like tell all like on the road with Stephen Shaw.
Not a chance.
No. Okay.
Nope.
Oh well.
Nope, because that's my experience. That belongs to me and nobody else.
Yeah. Well, that's probably what makes you like such a great tour manager. Why people want to work with you, because they know that they can trust you and they don't have to worry about that.
Because I won't rat them out. No, I mean it's great to have so far to have made a good living at this, and what I do out there is take care of them, and that's their business.
Yeah.
Anything I share within that business that's drama is shared within that family, that particular family, and nobody else. And end of story, period. I don't even, talk to my wife about any of this stuff.
Wow.
Yeah.
So,
when I'm home, and that's it. I'm home.
Yeah.
And when I'm out there doing my job.
Yeah. Well, when you get home after like a long tour with a band, do you ever play their music when you're home, or are you like kind of like burnt out on it, or?
You go through I hate music phases.
Yeah.
But it's not like you hate somebody for doing that. You just, when you're constantly around it all the time.
Right.
Doing yard work looks great. And, walking the dogs looks great, and going grocery shopping looks great.
Wow. Yeah.
So
I hear you.
It's the grass is not greener on the other side of the fence. It's just a different yard.
Yeah. Well, we'll end on that. Stephen, again, thank you very much for taking your time. And it was good catching up with you, and hopefully I will see you on the road in Buffalo sometime soon.
Yeah.
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 All right.
That'd be great. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Take it easy.
Peace.
Goodbye.